Allen Lund Company has new offices in Ogden, Utah and Indianapolis, Indiana. Check allenlund.com to reach them.
OOIDA, representing America's truckers since 1973, presents Landline Now with your host, Mark Reddick.
A move by the federal government could put a damper on so-called connected vehicle technology from certain countries. Meanwhile, the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is working to modernize its registration system, and another meeting is coming up where truckers can make their views on that known. I'll talk with OOIDA Director of Federal Affairs, Jay Grimes. For 11 years now, TA-Petro Travel Centers has honored truckers with a special program. It's called the Citizen Driver Award, and so far, the program has named 44 truck stops for truckers who have won that award. I'll find out what they're doing this year from Melissa Callahan, Vice President for Marketing at TA-Petro. And finally, truckers continue to talk about low rates, but there are signs on the horizon that things soon may get better. I'll get an update from Brent Hutto of Truckstop. But first, the news with Scott Thompson.
Thanks, Mark. Our top story today. The Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance has released results from its 2024 International Road Check Enforcement Blitz that took place in May. Over 3 days throughout North America, CVSA says nearly 49,000 inspections were carried out, nearly 11,000 fewer than were conducted in 2023. 77% of commercial motor vehicles and 95% of CMV drivers passed without any major issues. But that, of course, means there were others who got dinged. About 23% of the inspections resulted in out-of-service violations for vehicles, the majority for defective brakes or tires, and about 5% of drivers were hit with out-of-service orders, most of them for driving outside their hours of service or driving without a valid CDL. International Road Check 2025 is already on the docket for 3 days starting on May 13th. The Senate unanimously approving a bill that would make it easier for military veterans to make the transition into trucking. As it stands right now, if an already approved trucking school opens a secondary facility in a new location, existing laws require the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs and state regulators to deny the branch's ability to receive GI benefits for 2 years. The Veteran Improvement Commercial Driver License Act, introduced by Senator Deb Fischer of Nebraska, would change that. Shortly after she introduced the bill, the senator told us unnecessary red tape is blocking too many veterans who want to get into trucking.
Yeah, we have a number of veterans who want to become truckers, want to get their CDLs, and use their GI benefits in order to do it. Right now, if they go to a CDL school, and that school would open another campus, a secondary location, they are not able to use their GI benefits to go to the new facility that's been opened. That is another thing that makes absolutely no sense. You have the same business that has set up that facility that has already been accredited from their first facility, but to act like, gee, if they're going to, be successful in their business and expand, then it wouldn't be helpful for veterans. They wouldn't be able to attend a school that would be closer to them. So as long as these businesses are accredited, they're licensed, they're able to provide the training needed, they should be able to expand their business and offer more convenience to veterans who want to be able to get their CDLs.
Common sense.
Common sense. Shouldn't be that hard, should it?
The Veteran Improvement Commercial Driver License Act now heads to the U.S. House of Representatives. If approved there, it will head to President Biden's desk for signature. And another House bill that would streamline the security clearance process for truck drivers and others is on the move. The Transportation Security Screening Modernization Act was approved by the House Homeland Security Committee on Wednesday, clearing a path to the House floor. The bipartisan bill, which currently has 62 co-sponsors, is aimed at current TSA policies, which often require separate applications for required credentials, like the Transportation Worker Identification Credential and hazardous materials endorsements. That's despite TSA already conducting a security threat assessment for each program. The bill would standardize and streamline that process. There's also a Senate version. It currently has 5 co-sponsors. And 4 new co-sponsors have signed on to another bipartisan bill in the U.S. House that would give FMCSA the tools it needs to combat fraud in the transportation industry. The Household Goods Shipping Consumer Protection Act seeks to restore and codify the agency's authority to issue civil penalties against bad actors. The legislation would also require brokers, freight forwarders, and carriers to provide a valid business address to FMCSA before acquiring operating authority. In a statement of support, OOIDA President Todd Spencer wrote that freight fraud committed by criminals and scam artists is devastating many small business truckers out there who are simply trying to make a living in a tough freight market. Spencer said the bill would give FMCSA better tools to fight back. The Household Goods Shipping Consumer Protection Act now counts 14 members of the House as co-sponsors. Speaking of fraud, the former owner of an Ohio trucking company is headed to prison for a shipping fraud scheme. Earlier this year, Gurtej Singh pleaded guilty, admitting to overbilling shippers and consolidating loads to save on delivery costs. Prosecutors say Singh and affiliated companies would charge a premium rate to customers like Bath & Body Works and Amazon for truckload services, but they would then open trailers and consolidate cargo to generate higher profits, even altering the seal serial numbers and paperwork to hide the scheme from shippers and receivers. Singh was sentenced in federal court to 12 months in prison. The Navistar brand is going away. The parent company of International Trucks says it's retiring the name on October 1st. The company will go by International Motors after that. The rebrand is one of many in the works there at the company, something officials say is part of an overall shift in focus toward customers and not just the trucks themselves. More truck parking is coming to rest areas along Interstate 70 in Maryland. The state DOT there says work has begun on the I-70 South Mountain Welcome Center near Myersville. 25 spots are being added to the eastbound rest area and another 10 to the westbound side. Right now, there are 49 truck parking spots between the two. Completion is scheduled before the end of next year. In a news release, the Maryland DOT said the location was chosen for expansion based on a study that showed the I-70 South Mountain Welcome Center is often at capacity and has the highest proportion of trucks parked for more than 8 hours in the state. And more than 1,000 paid truck parking spots are being added to the Chicago area. Outpost says it's close to opening up a 30-acre lot in West Dundee in the coming weeks. The parking spaces open up first, but the site will also include a convenience store, a maintenance shop, truck wash, fueling station, and more, all of which Outpost says should be ready for use by the spring. And finally, the American Transportation Research Institute is asking truck drivers to participate in another new survey. ATRI researchers are trying to better understand the makeup of the U.S. truck driver population and how it has changed over time. ATRI says it will pore over more than 20 years of data. The results of the new survey will help researchers compare changing trends. The information provided will be done so anonymously. The survey is being conducted in concert with ATRI research on how underrepresented groups might be recruited into the trucking industry. That's Landline Now News for today. I'm Scott Thompson.
Thanks, Scott. We continue to monitor the effects of Hurricane Helene on Florida and the southeast U.S. An emergency remains in effect for several dozen Florida counties. Certain requirements for truckers providing direct assistance have been waived in Florida and Georgia. For up-to-the-minute details on road closures, head to landline.media. Click on the Resources tab at the top of the page and scroll down to Road Conditions for Truckers. Again, that's at the website landline.media. Marty Ellis and OOIDA's tour truck, The Spirit of the American Trucker, are at the Petro Truckstop in Racine, Virginia. That's located at exit 205 off Interstates 81 and 64. Stop in, say hi to Marty, and join OOIDA for a $10 discount. Do you have a news tip? Maybe you have a comment about something you heard on the air. Email us at landlinenow@ooida.com. Next, I'll discuss a move against connected vehicle technology from certain countries with OOIDA Director of Federal Affairs, Jay Grimes. Alyssa Callahan of TA-Petro tells us what's going on this year for the company's Citizen Driver Award, and I'll get some insight into where rates are headed from Brent Hutto of Truckstop. We'll be right back. I'm Mark Reddick, and this is Landline Now.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content, go to landline.media to get updated news, information, and archived editions of our show. Once again, that's landline.media.
Capital Reman is your leading source for quality remanufactured engines and components. Capital Reman stands ready to serve all OOIDA members to help reduce costly engine repairs or replacement. Visit capitalreman.com today and use code OOIDA10 to save.
Penske is the trusted source for quality used trucks. Whether you search our website, call our sales staff, or bid at our online auction, you are sure to find the right used truck for your business. Visit PenskeUsedTrucks.com to view our inventory and learn more.
It's tested and proven. Burn 2.1% less fuel when you balance all wheel ends with Centromatic. Call 800-523-8473 to get the OOIDA discount.
A move by the federal government could put a damper on so-called connected vehicle technology from certain countries. Welcome back to Landline Now. This is Regulatory Roundup, and I'm Mark Reddick. I'm joined as always by OOIDA Director of Federal Affairs, Jay Grimes. Jay, how are you doing?
Doing well, Mark. Good to be with you.
Good to have you here. I think we ought to start kind of at a basic level because I don't think a lot of people are familiar with that term, connected vehicle technology. Can you kind of give us a basic primer on what that is?
Yeah, this is technology that operates through the internet, Wi-Fi, that operates in cars and commercial trucks. Certainly, a lot of the vehicles that are being manufactured today are, a lot of cases, feature these types of systems, and in some cases rely on these types of systems to operate. Especially some of the cars and trucks that are, not only being tested on public roads today, but are being deployed without, a driver in those vehicles. So these are basically computers on wheels for the most part, and that's kind of the term for connected vehicle.
Now, this, in particular, this situation involves an agency that I don't think we've talked about before, the Department of Commerce, Bureau of Industry and Security. And what is that agency proposing exactly?
Yeah, the Department of Commerce, which really has oversight on a lot of business deals and business transactions, has submitted a notice of proposed rulemaking that would essentially prohibit connected vehicle technologies that are manufactured by China or other foreign adversaries from being imported into the United States. And the Department of Commerce has, raised some concerns about Chinese and other foreign technologies being on the roads here in the U.S., gathering information on drivers, on infrastructure, and then kind of using that information against the U.S. and certainly, I think, speaks to a lot of the cybersecurity concerns that we have raised when it comes to self-driving trucks, autonomous commercial trucks that are, being tested and deployed on the roads today. So this does a number of things, and it's going to be a phased-in potential timeline if this proposal is finalized, and mainly it's going to ban connectivity system, software and hardware from knowingly being imported into U.S. On U.S. vehicles. I think the software requirements would begin model year 2027, hardware components model year 2030. So this is really going to, hopefully, essentially prevent some of this foreign technology from infiltrating American vehicles. And this is not limited just to automobiles and four-wheelers. This really is going to apply to all vehicles, including Class 8 commercial trucks.
And you mentioned, of course, China, which is specifically mentioned, I believe. But there's that other term, other foreign adversaries. I believe the only other specific country that was mentioned was Russia.
That's correct. Russia as well. But when you kind of read through the language of the notice of proposed rulemaking, you look at some of the market sales and the vehicles that are, actually some of these companies are testing some of this Chinese technology on the road today. The focus is definitely on China, but yes, Russian components certainly are going to be part of this proposal too. The notice of proposed rulemaking comes after 7 months of deliberation from the Department of Commerce. They put an advance notice of proposed rulemaking out earlier this year, really targeting these foreign adversaries and their ability to obtain data on American driving habits, and really more scary, to remotely control vehicles via internet connections and Wi-Fi connections. And that's really something that we've raised concerns about to FMCSA, Department of Homeland Security, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, really a concern for a commercial vehicle being targeted by bad actors, especially as more and more technology gets implemented on vehicles. Some of these self-driving trucks that are on the roads today could be, a very significant target to kind of, take over via internet connection.
And I know that safety and security are obviously big parts of the reason why the agency did this or is doing this. I'm curious, are there other reasons that are also included, other things that they're concerned about leading to this move?
Yeah, that's covers it for the most part. Certainly, data privacy is another issue and concern that continues to kind of escalate as more and more of these technology systems kind of come online, especially for cars and trucks. What does the driver who owns the vehicle, what are they giving up to these manufacturers, to these internet companies, a lot of times unknowingly, a lot of times perhaps against their will. So that's kind of another aspect to a lot of these technology concerns is data privacy, personal information protection.
Now, this is happening as the Department of Transportation is introducing its plan for what it calls V2X, which is very definitely related to this. Can you explain what we mean by that term V2X?
Yeah, so V2X is vehicle to the number two, and the X kind of is everything technology. So this is kind of, I think runs, and this was a Department of Transportation plan that kind of runs a little counterintuitive to what we've just heard from the Department of Commerce. And this is a plan that would allow vehicles to communicate to other vehicles, communicate with infrastructure, communicate to traffic systems, departments of transportation, to even pedestrians and bicyclists, and really to allow vehicles to send and receive information in real time. And, the goal of this V2X plan certainly to improve safety, but you've got to wonder, does it also open the door for cybersecurity attacks and, again, not enough protection of personal data privacy? So going to be interesting to see how that development of V2X technology, if that continues to evolve, if some of these foreign technologies that we know vehicles are operating right now are no longer allowed to be sold or imported into the U.S.
We've been talking here about future trucks for the most part, but just to clarify, will this have any practical effect on existing trucks or truckers?
Not so much a practical effect, but this is not the proposal won't go into effect 2027, 2030. But there are self-driving cars from China that have been collecting data during test rides on U.S. For some time. We've seen Chinese self-driving truck companies, Too Simple notably, who's kind of no longer in business, being able to test and operate on roads in the U.S. I think it does raise some red flags about some of the dangers of a kind of a swift adoption to any self-driving technology, and I think really necessitates some more federal oversight. So I think we're supportive of this notice of proposed rulemaking, certainly want to see some more from the Department of Transportation, FMCSA, NHTSA, on having more data transparency from not just the foreign companies that are testing commercial trucks on the road, but the domestic companies as well, being able to understand and know how they're performing from a safety and a cybersecurity perspective.
Let's go on to another topic in the time we have left here. The Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration has been working on a plan to modernize its registration system. And another meeting is coming up where stakeholders such as truckers can make their views known. Jay, why are they undertaking this effort? Why are they basically modernizing the registration system?
Yeah, it's the goal of the updated registration system is really to make it more streamlined for both existing motor carriers and new carriers that entering the trucking industry, transitioning it to being a more modern electronic-based system, trying to whittle down all the different types of registration that motor carriers have to go through, and just kind of making it more centralized, making it more common sense, hopefully making it more efficient. And this has been a goal of DOT and FMCSA for seems like at least a decade now. At one point, it was the unified registration system. Now they're calling it the federal registration system, but we've heard from FMCSA quite a bit over the last year or so that they're really making some strides in getting this new system established and getting it launched. They've announced another registration modernization stakeholder day. This is going to be the third event this year. It's going to be held on Monday, October 21st from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a hybrid event. There's going to be up to 100 people on hand at DOT headquarters in Washington, D.C., and if you can't make it to D.C., they're going to open up. There's up to 500 people can join via webinar. Registration is currently open on FMCSA's website, and we'll have some links if you're interested in attending. Really to learn more about what FMCSA is going to implement, how the system could work, and we've got so far, some bits of information on that. I was looking at the agenda earlier, and I think this is going to be maybe the first time where the in-person folks are going to be able to kind of test drive the systems that FMCSA is kind of building right now. They're calling it the FRS, Federal Registration System Test Drive, that is going to be available on the 21st. So another step that as FMCSA continues to work on this. We've heard from the stakeholder events earlier this year, it's going to be kind of a phased-in approach throughout the next couple of years. Some of the stuff they want to implement will not need a federal rulemaking, and that's going to be the stuff we could be in place as soon as next year. Other things like the complete elimination of the motor carrier number going to take that federal rulemaking process, so a few more years there. But really the goal here is to make the registration process more efficient, more user-friendly.
We just have about a minute left here, Jay, but are there some key issues from the trucker's perspective involved in this?
Yeah, so kind of the main thing that we've kind of given a little bit of a preview on is this identity verification process, where FMCSA is going to rely upon facial recognition software to make sure that the motor carrier who is registering is exactly who they say they are, which could be helpful in eliminating the freight fraud that we continue to see plague the industry. Also going to be interesting to see how FMCSA implements that for existing motor carriers and how long that will take for everyone to get under this proposed new system. So I think it's a necessary update, but I think there's going to be some obstacles and some challenges to work out from kind of the technology side, and hopefully this event on the 21st can kind of help to identify and solve those problems.
Excellent. And once again, folks, that's going to be from 1 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, October 21st. You can go live in person. You can take part virtually. And as Jay said, we will have links on our website, landlinenow.com, to where you can register to take part in that. Jay, thank you very much for all the information. We certainly appreciate it.
Sure thing. We'll see you next time.
I've been talking with OOIDA Director of Federal Affairs, Jay Grimes. We'll be back in just a moment. I'm Mark Reddick, and this is Landline Now.
Truckdown.com. Whenever you have a breakdown, you need Truckdown.com. 24/7 access to 40,000 verified heavy-duty repair vendors nationwide. Repair secured. Load assured. Truckdown.com.
Firestone tires are for more of everything, with more durability for more miles and more confidence in your fleet. Firestone's tested tires help fleets save with value where it matters most. Learn more at bridgestonenationalfleet.com/4moremiles.
Dispatch, I picked up that load of steel, so I'm ready to roll.
Sounds good. Remember, we're getting paid by weight, so make sure to use a CAT scale.
I wouldn't weigh anywhere else.
Forget miss accuracy when you're truck on a CAT scale.
Landline Now. Welcome back. For 11 years now, TA-Petro Travel Centers has honored truckers with a special program. It's called the Citizen Driver Award, and so far, the program has named 44 truck stops for truckers who have won that award. To get more information about the Citizen Driver Award, I spoke recently with Alyssa Callahan, Vice President for Marketing at TA-Petro. Well, first of all, I'm wondering if you can just explain broadly, what is the Citizen Driver Award?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on today. It's such a pleasure to be here, and I'm excited to be speaking about this program. So Travel Centers of America has what we call a Citizen Driver Awards program, and it's been around this is actually our 11th year doing the program. So it started in 2014. It's an awards program that honors professional drivers who demonstrate excellence and commitment to the trucking industry, to each other, as well as to their communities. So we go through and select winners based on citizenship, leadership, community involvement, safety, wellness, and we really are looking to award and recognize drivers that are really just doing an excellent job in representing this important industry very well. And if I look back at the program, I have a couple stats for you. So in the last 10 years, we've awarded this award to 44 drivers. So we have 44 citizen drivers that we consider our award winners. And combined, they have over 1,000 years of driving. So just lots and lots of miles on the road. I think it's over 130 million miles together they've driven across this country. And they're from 29 different states. So we get them from all over the country. And we also have 5 of them were team drivers, which is really, really interesting and fun to learn about. And 13 of them have been military veterans, which is just phenomenal on top of everything else they do. So yeah, it's a program that we're honored to run to award drivers in this industry who are demonstrating excellence at work and in their free time.
Now, a lot of different organizations in trucking have different awards that they give out, and they all have their own reasons. Why in particular did TA-Petro start the Citizen Driver program?
Yeah, so this was started, like I said, back in 2014, so before my time at TA, but it's been something that once I learned about this, I really think it's phenomenal, and it continues to grow every year. But this was really born initially out of the idea that we're seeing when we visit our stores and when we speak with our team members, when we speak with drivers, that they're really not getting the respect that they deserve or the admiration for the very demanding job that they do. And we try our best to do that when they visit our sites, but we really would love to help make a difference also in all of our communities and for anyone that comes to our truck stops. For people like you and me that maybe are in our cars with our family, do they recognize and appreciate the hard work that our truck drivers are doing? Some of them may not. So it's really to bring attention and recognition and highlight the amazing things that they're doing outside of work, because really so many of them are just outstanding citizens, and we should be so grateful for everything they do to support their communities as well as provide us the goods and services that we need. So really, we were hoping to have kind of a snowball effect on helping the public have a bigger view of the incredible role that they play in our lives by recognizing them in a big way and then dedicating one of our sites in their honor.
I know that there are requirements and then other factors that are involved in selecting a winner or winners for the Citizen Driver Award. I wonder if we can start with the requirements. What are the specific requirements someone has to meet in order to be successfully nominated?
Sure. So not too many. So we would love everyone to participate. You can nominate yourself or you can nominate someone else. The couple requirements we have are you have to be at least 18 years or older. So you must be an adult and you must be currently driving and you must be an over-the-road professional driver living in the United States or Canada, excluding Quebec. So most of Canada and the United States.
And what are the other factors that TA-Petro looks at in selecting, again, a winner or winners?
Yep. So we do have a judging panel, an independent judging panel that supports us here. So they look at a variety of factors, and those range from good citizenship, community involvement, leadership, safety, health, and wellness. So within those categories, they get a rating. But there's also, I'd say, really no set formula or ranking system that they have to follow because we read every submission. The judges read every submission and they really want to get the full picture of what each driver brings to the industry. So we've seen judges really select a driver that has done so much to benefit their community. They've given back to a very important charity or they've mentored future drivers. So really, you don't have to be really doing all of those things. It's just to find out and learn about what you may be doing in those areas. And then those are rated to determine who are our final honorees.
You mentioned the independent judging panel, and of course, that's a very important part of this. Can you give us an idea of some of the people who were on that panel?
Yep. So we've looked at different organizations. We've had the president of Women in Trucking. We had Lindsay Lawler last year, who's a country music singer. We look at some of our partner relationships or some of our sponsors that we're running with. So we don't have our judges completely determined yet, but what we really look for is someone that doesn't work for TA-Petro, doesn't work for one of our competitors, but works in the trucking industry and has a real appreciation for this and would be interested in helping us select. So we'll have the judges for this year out shortly, but it's a little bit different every year, and we try to get a really great panel to evaluate them.
I wonder if you can talk a little bit about some of the people who have won the award and have had truck stops named for them. Are there particular ones that you think people would find particularly interesting? Tell us about a few.
Yeah, sure. So last year, I was at the award ceremony last year, which we do at the Mid-America Trucking Show at MATS at the end of March. So I was able to meet our winners in person, and we awarded Stephen Gina Jones and Tim Taylor. So they actually are coming up on their unveiling ceremony. We're dedicating a site in Arizona to Stephen Gina, and then we're dedicating a site in Atlanta to Tim. And they were able to pick those sites. And they are just, outstanding citizens, all three of them. We've also had some really well-known drivers as well. Back in 2018, we had Carol Nixon. I know she's very instrumental in Women in Trucking. We've had Adela Hansen, some big names. We also had Marty Ellis, and I know he drives the Freedom Truck and stops at TA location, so everyone knows him. So we've really had some great names, and we continue to actually invite them all to the Mid-America Trucking Show every year to sit in on the ceremony and welcome kind of the new award winners into this. It's almost a club. So we all get together every year and they continue to be recognized and celebrate each other. So it's been really fun.
The obvious effect of this, the short term, is as I said, obvious. You have these truckers who are honored. Hopefully people see the information in the truck stop when they visit. Maybe it communicates to the general public some of what's happening. But I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the long term. What do you hope the long-term effect of this program will be on the trucking industry?
I think for me, I would hope that this program, as well as some of the other marketing efforts that we're doing, can have a long-term effect on the public's view of professional drivers. We're also celebrating Truck Driver Appreciation Week, I think in a couple weeks here. So I would love to change any perception that someone may have that truck drivers don't work extremely hard, that they're not outstanding citizens, and that we should, we have any reason not to be very grateful for the work that they do. So we're really trying to change a perception. And we also want to celebrate the trucking industry as a whole. I think encouraging more new drivers and younger drivers to get involved, to be interested in trucking, to give them someone to connect to as a mentor, and to really have these examples of outstanding men and women that they can look up to and reach out to if they're interested in it. So I know it's no small feat, but I would love to really change the overall view of this and really grow the trucking industry as a whole because it's crucial to our business.
Okay. Let's get into some of the technical details people need to know. What is the deadline this year for nominations?
Sure. So the deadline is October 7th. So just about a month away. But you can start your application and then come back in and finish it later. So as long as you get it finished by October 7th, you'll be submitted for 2025.
I wonder if you can walk us through the nomination process. If someone wants to nominate a trucker, how do they go about that, and what kind of information do they need to gather in order to make that nomination?
Yep. So you can go to the website. The website for this program is www.citizendriveraward.com. Maybe we can share that too. We can send that over after. And there's instructions on that page. So you can start to fill out the information. You can nominate yourself or you can nominate someone else. We get a lot of both. But really all you need for the nomination is basic information. It includes your driving history, the number of years you've been driving, your career, mileage, and most of it is dropped down. So it's pretty easy to fill out. If you don't know the exact answer, a guess is fine. As we move through the process, we do reach out, we'll call and confirm and finalize that we have all of the correct information if you're selected to move on to the judging round.
Have you received a lot of nominations so far this year?
Gee, I think last time I checked, we were probably close to 200. So not bad. I think I'd love to see more. We're trying to get out and really spread the word about this as we do every year, because we really want to encourage everyone to apply or to nominate someone else. One, because then me and my team and our judges get to read all of these stories, which we find so inspiring. And two, I think it really is it's a great way to show your appreciation for someone else by submitting a nomination on their behalf. So please get your nominations in. I'd love to see 500 plus this year.
Is there a danger of you running out of truck stops to name for these drivers?
No, because then we'll just have to build more. Hopefully not. We have over 300 locations today, and we've had 44 so far. So we have enough to go around. What we will say is if you do have to pick from our remaining sites, the drivers get to pick which site they would like to be named in their honor, and which is really nice. It's usually based on where they have a close relationship with our team members or they're stopping there frequently. So they get to pick. If it's already taken, you can pick something else. But we hope to keep growing and scaling our business and doing this program for another 100 years. So hopefully not.
Fantastic. Well, listen, that's all that I had. Is there anything else that you want to add, or maybe you think I didn't ask about that I should have?
No, I think this has been great. I'd love to just encourage everyone to take a look at the website, to nominate yourself or nominate someone else. And I really wanted to say thank you. I think I love this program, and reading all of the submissions we find really inspiring and also useful for us on how we can better serve you when you come into one of our truck stops. And it's so inspiring to learn about these professional drivers. I like to reflect as I'm reading through them just about the level of community involvement some of them have, in addition to being on the road full time. It's really wonderful, the amount of time and effort they put into this. And it's not easy to work full time, come home, and then spend your free time dedicated to helping others. So I appreciate everyone that applies. We love reading them, and we hope to get lots of nominations in this year so we can continue the program, and we'll award some very special winners next spring.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time and for all the information.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you, everyone out there. Drive safely, and we appreciate you.
That was Alyssa Callahan, Vice President for Marketing at TA-Petro, talking about the annual Citizen Driver Award. If you'd like to nominate someone for the TA-Petro Citizen Driver Award or learn more about it, you can go to the website citizendriveraward.com. Again, that website is citizendriveraward.com. The deadline for nominations is October 7th. We'll have that information on our website, landlinenow.com. Just click on the photo or headline at the top of the page and scroll down. That's where you'll find all the website links, email addresses, and phone numbers we mentioned here on the show. Again, you can find that at our website, landlinenow.com. I'm Mark Reddick, and this is Landline Now.
Ready to make more money? Use a better load board. For a limited time, get 50% off Truckstop Load Board Pro. Just go to truckstop.com/go and enter promo code READY2024 when you purchase Load Board Pro.
Are you tired of the IRS following you around like a dark cloud? Call 888-557-4020 and get your life back.
If you're running ultra-low sulfur diesel in your vehicle, make sure you are prepared and protected all winter long with Howes Diesel Treat, the #1 anti-gel product in North America from the 100-plus year trusted brand Howes Products.
Since you started, what you've loved about trucking is the freedom. Heading out on your favorite route, a good driving song, and thinking about truck insurance. Well, maybe not that last one. That's why we're here. At OOIDA, we have a full range of truck insurance products, expert advice, and great customer service, helping you get the right coverage for your operation. Go to OOIDA.com because your job is to drive. Our job is to help with everything else.
Landline now. Welcome back. Time now for our weekly spot market update. And joining me is Brent Hutto of Truckstop. Brent, welcome.
Man, Mark, it is so great just to be sitting in the studio of Landline and OIDA out here in Grain Valley. It's a fantastic place to be. So thanks for having us in this morning.
Well, we're glad you're here. It's glad to see you face to face.
Yes, sir. It's always good. That's what trucking's about, man. It's relationships and face to face.
Absolutely. Let's just jump right into the data here.
Yeah, fantastic.
What sort of numbers are we seeing right now in the spot market, and what kind of conclusions can we draw from those numbers?
Yeah, that's the big question. What's the conclusion? What we're seeing in the spot market right now is that the pressure in the market, so the market demand index, which is the truck stop index we've been measuring for about 20 years, has been in the 50s. And so it's between 50 and 60 over the last almost 2 years after we came out of the pandemic. So if you look at the market demand index, which we publish every single week, free to truckers, free to the industry, if it's as long as it's in the 50 to 60, it's kind of normal. And what I mean by normal is the marketplace over the last 2 years went from the pandemic high all the way back down to normal. And I get questions, Mark, from Wall Street to single truck owner operators. I mean, is it really normal? Yeah, it's normal. Normal amount of freight in the marketplace. So we've been kind of bumping up and down a little bit around normal, but it's been normal for almost 2 years. And so, and what I mean by normal is that it's you've got enough freight in the marketplace that's reflected over a normal period of time. And so the conclusion that you can draw from this is that yes, because of inflation and because of fuel and some other things that's been difficult in the market, the conclusion you can draw is that the marketplace is still healthy. All right, the rates may not be healthy because of the challenges out there with fuel, and although fuel's come back down, I know it's the lowest it's been since the beginning of the Russia invading Ukraine, which made the fuel spike. It's around 40. I think it's around 41 cents or 42 cents. The fuel surcharge index, but rates in general have been bumping up and down. But when you look at dry van, you look at flatbed, you look at refrigerated, they're just kind of in a normal range. The cool thing, the conclusion you can draw, you can look at this. I look at rates every single day. The actual rate right now in 2024 for the last 10 weeks has been above the rates in 2023, which was a normal market. That, Mark, is a great sign for owner-operators that strength is beginning to build back into pricing, which is how they all get paid. So strength has been building back in. That's a great sign. Keep watching that number. Is it improved year over year? Not back when it was in the pandemic, but year over year. So 10 straight weeks of improvements over last year, which shows strength back in the market. And boy, do owner-operators need it.
What are some of the factors that are driving that right now?
Well, the factors that are driving it is that we're beginning to move into the holiday season. So you get a peak inside of the spot market and the trucking market in general about July 4th, and then it kind of comes down to the summer sort of vacation time, and a lot of people take off, even some truckers take off. It kind of goes down because freight recesses a little bit, so the rates come down. It's beginning to approach holiday season, and I'll tell you right now, shippers don't want their goods to not get to market like they experienced during the pandemic. So rates will start to move back up because they need to. They've just been at the bottom of the curve, not the bottom of like a historical, but the bottom of the curve. They've been there for a long time. So it's a natural progression for it to start to come back up.
Let's look a little bit at some of the other stuff going on in the market. And one of them, and I think you've referred to that, load posting volumes, which has a big effect on a lot of what we're talking about here.
It does. It's everything. Yeah. So load posting volumes, what I do is I track and trend it over a 5-year period, and I take out big markets. Like I take out 2018, I take out 2021, 22 during the pandemic, because those are abnormal markets that are typically driven by regulation. So if you want to know when the big market's coming back, look at what the FMCSA is doing for regulations, because that will change the ability for capacity to move the goods in the market. But freight has to be at a good stable rate. But I'll tell you this is another thing we track and trend. We look at all the full truckload freight in the United States, and since the middle of the pandemic, the actual available freight, which is what all the rates are based on, has been above the actual trend of the normal in the marketplace. And this is all freight, not just spot market freight. Spot market freight's been on the lower part of the curve, and so it's been on the lower part of normal. So that's why freight rates have gone down. And I'll say the other thing is this, Mark. This is really, really important. We have a lot of capacity inside the spot market that came in when rates were $5 and $6 and $7 in the pandemic. And hey, it's great for truckers. We want that for our truckers, but it's not sustainable. So capacity still, there's still some capacity exits, but this was super cool. So we track and trend the number that come in and go out of the marketplace. In August, and this is where truckers are hopeful, Mark, owner-operators are hopeful. There were more for-hire truckers coming in the market in August than going out of the market. First time in the last 9 months, because there were big exits in the market. So that shows you the trend that trucking is still healthy. It's still a good place to be.
That's interesting because, of course, we still hear a lot from truckers about how low the rates are.
Yeah, and that's a challenge.
If we're getting more capacity in terms of freight hauling capacity, more truckers entering the market, isn't that something that might hold those rates down a little bit?
Well, yes and no. It will in certain areas. Okay, if you're like the cool thing about load boards is you can look at any lane in any market and go not look at the rate. Here's what I want every trucker to look at, Mark, and this is super cool and super important to the profitability. Look at how many trucks are looking at freight in that market that you're in, and look at how many trucks are available looking at freight in the market you're going to. In other words, if you're going from Atlanta to Dallas, if there's 50 trucks to every load, you're going to be in high competition. The rates are going to be low. If there's 5 to every load, then you got a chance to negotiate a much better rate. By the way, here's the other thing. The posted rates that I talk about every week are nothing more than an industry index average. Okay, so that's not the negotiated final rate. If you're not negotiating for a better amount, then number one, do your homework on the lane. Always do your homework. Do your homework. That's what your mom and dad always told us, right? Do your homework. And if you do that, I guarantee you'll be able to negotiate 10, 20%, potentially more in a lane, because you'll look at how many trucks are there picking up freight, how many trucks at the market you're going to, and then you'll just be able to get better profitable freight. And that's the key, right? Better profitability consistently over time, which means you get to enjoy trucking a whole lot more.
Well, and one of the keys there, you mentioned the negotiation, and of course that's something very difficult for a lot of folks.
It is. 80% owner-operators hate it. This is why we give them all the information on Truckstop, because we want them to be armed with the information the broker has.
Yeah, but of course you've got to be willing to walk away if they're not willing to meet what you need.
Absolutely. So move quickly, because freight moves quickly in the spot market. Have 2 or 3 loads you're working on all times. If you've got a spouse that might be helping you, be negotiating quickly all the time. That's the key to getting the profitable freight, is moving quickly, because time's money for brokers. If you're dealing with a broker, if you're dealing with a shipper, they measure everything by time. So if they can get that load moved in 2 minutes instead of 15 minutes, they're much more likely to give you a better rate for your operation.
There's a figure you also look at, I know, the outbound tender reject index.
I do.
Can you explain to folks what that is and what it tells us?
Yeah. No, thank you for bringing that up. So during the pandemic, I started recognizing what drives freight into the spot market. All right, so Sonar, put out by FreightWaves, it's a database that they put out. They have this measurement called the outbound tender reject. In other words, what's the contract freight? Because, contract freight's nothing more than a simple agreement. It gets what I call renegotiated, but it's called rejected. So the rate that they were going to haul it at is not good enough for that contract carrier, the big carriers you see going up and down the highways with the normal logos and stuff. It got rejected at the amount they negotiated it for. And the shipper says, well, you know what? I think I can do better. I'm going to push some of that freight out to the spot market, to my broker transportation providers. And so the outbound tender reject index mirrors the spot market. So because it's contract freight that's renegotiated or rejected, pushed back out to another provider in the marketplace, and typically it'll move out to the spot market because it's all full truckload freight. And here's the thing. So when you look at this number, and you can see it on FreightWaves each week, if it's at 5%, between 5 and 10%, then the spot market freight availability is growing. If it's below, it's not growing. It's staying in the contract marketplace, not going to the spot market. So I look at this number every week. Here's the cool thing. In the last 2.5 months, it's been staying right near 5%. 5% is the beginning of the spot market availability freight growing, which when there's more freight than there is trucks, everybody knows rates are going to go up. So watch that number clearly, along with the market demand index that we put out in Truckstop, and you'll be as smart as anybody else on being able to move freight.
Well, Brent, it's all useful information. I know we could go on for some time.
You know me, I love to.
There's so much to talk about.
Yeah, there really is. There really is.
But thank you very much for the information. I know we helped some people out today.
Well, Mark, Landline's fantastic. OID's fantastic. We just absolutely, it's an honor for us to be able to work with you guys and help our fellow, your member and our customer, the owner-operator, thrive in America, because boy, do we need them.
That was Brent Hutto of Truckstop. That's our program for today. I'm Mark Reddick, and this is Landline Now.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you want more content, go to landline.media to get updated news, information, and archived editions of our show. Once again, that's landline.media.
Control your toll costs and eliminate tolling headaches with Prepass Tolls. Prepass Tolls means toll volume discounts. Just one invoice for all tolls and fewer violations. Call 877-878-5970 or go to prepass.com.
I'm a dad,
a son,
a husband,
wife.
I'm a writer,
photographer.
I farm.
I'm a veteran.
I love old cars, fishing,
my kids,
chrome, and I am
a professional truck driver.
And together we are OOIDA.
OOIDA was founded by truckers to stand up and speak on behalf of truckers. We've done that by combining the individual voices of our members into a single, powerful voice. Protecting your interests, defending your rights.
Join us!
Make your voice heard. Join OOIDA, the Owner-Operator Independent Drivers Association. Call 1-800-444-5791 or visit OOIDA.com.